My name is Quanasia and welcome to my book corner where I talk to you about books or series that I recently read. This book is called His Blood, My Heart by Indica. And girl, okay, female main character name is Kadia. Her husband name is Carter. Her side nigga name is Chris. And her husband's cousin slash her side nigga, her other side nigga name is Armel. Okay, so in the beginning of the book, we learned that Kadia and Carter lived in Cali. She cheated in Cali. Remember that, okay? She cheated in Cali, okay? So Carter moved her to Atlanta, where they were living, and he moved her to Atlanta so they could work on their marriage. Apparently that's what he said, right? However, he's just treating her like he usually treat her. He's a doctor and he's a surgeon or whatever the fuck, but long fucking story short, he treat her like a maid, and that's how she felt. So she found her new side nigga, and the new side nigga name is Chris, and Chris be putting her through the mattress in her house. Now she got a neighbor, old white lady neighbor named Kathy, and Kathy be all up in her business because Kathy's husband is all up in somebody else's face, everybody else's face but hers. So every single time she see Chris come over, she talking about some, oh, have you seen, I see somebody just left your house and that don't look like your husband and yada yada yada. And Kadia always gotta cuss him out. Now in the beginning of the book, Kadia is making it seem like she the big boss, like she runs shit, right? So you like, okay, I'm finally reading a book about a bitch that, runs shit in her house, right? Right. So we think. But anyways, keep it pushing. Randomly one day, his cousin Armel pops up and he's like, what the fuck is you doing in my house? The fuck? And he's like, oh, I'm just here, I'm here because, I'm basically here because you owe me, nigga, so you can't kick me out type shit, right? So boom, he's like, oh, Armel is moving in, get the guest room ready for him. Bitch, that's why she thinks she the maid, because he be telling her, you need to have the breakfast ready, you need to have dinner ready and all this, but he don't fuck her. Okay, he don't hunch on this girl, right? Mind you, when they did get nasty, get handsy, and he was about to, I think this was one part of the book where she had went to the something at his job, and they was getting handsy. They got back to his room, his office, and soon as he bent her over about to hunch her, he couldn't even get hard. Remember that. Okay, boom. So then eventually, Chris, her side nigga, be calling her like on some crazy shit, be calling her back to back, because he be telling her like, you're mine, and when I call you better fucking answer. But she be like, I got a man, like you need to chill, right? And he basically told her, I don't give a fuck about that nigga. I ain't give a fuck about him when we first started fucking. I don't give a fuck about him now, bitch. So he be calling her, and well, eventually she starts hunching on Armel. Okay, she started hunching on him, and the husband still don't know. So Armel tells her, you don't know your husband like you think you know your husband. And he alludes to it like her husband has a secret that's like crazy, like it could be like he a kingpin or something type, secret, right? Boom, that's how it's alluded, like he's actually really dangerous, right? So then one day she wakes up late at night and his side of the bed is empty, so she goes downstairs and a whole bunch of niggas is sitting up in his room smoking and carrying on, niggas she ain't ever know before, right? So she's like, what the fuck is going on? So she's asking Armel, what's the secret? He's like, I can't tell you the secret. And so she is asking Chris if he could help, right? Boom. Long fucking story short, Armel and Kadia was about to hunch in the pool, but Carter came home early, so he's pissed, right? They start fighting, Armel and Carter start fighting. The cops is called. Carter tells the cops that Armel had crack in his house. Now Armel, right, before he popped out at the house, he was actually in prison and just got out of prison. And Carter got him back in jail, right? So Kadia, that's her man now, she's like, I'm gonna get him out. She gets Chris to help her, right? So Armel's like, how you get your side nigga to help your husband's cousin who you also fucking out of jail? somehow, some way they get out of jail, right? But she's enlisting she's enlisting Chris and Armel to figure out what the secret is. Now Carter told her the secret was he had a baby, but that was a lie. He ain't got no fucking baby, right? So child, Carter starts acting more and more aggressive, right? So all this is going on. After gets arrested, or Mel gets arrested, she decides to go back to the hotel room. No, I'm lying. Before he gets arrested, she goes to a hotel room, or I think this was after. Either way, she goes to a hotel room, right? And she decides she's gonna stay there. Now she is getting fucked on by Armel when he going about his business. Well, no, not Armel. She got fucked on by Chris, and he stayed there for 3 days. And then eventually Carter came and physically, when I say physically, I mean picked her up, threw her out the hotel room, threw her in the car, like he was throwing her and carrying on. So the big boss wasn't giving big boss anymore. She was giving all bark, no bite. And it was very much pissing me off, okay? Like, what the fuck? I said, oh, so this nigga must be into, he must be pushing drugs or some shit, or selling the medicine from the hospital or some shit. You get what I'm saying? So anyways, they find out they have to find some nigga named D-Thing. So they go to Cali, and they find D-Thing, but he said he's not coming to Atlanta because he want to talk to Carter first. But then they eventually got this nigga to come. Armel eventually gets out of jail. I think I sped past the part of how he got out of jail, but he got out of jail, right? And how he got out of jail is really, I think, Kadia was taking money out of the shared bank accounts between her and Carter to pay for his lawyer, so she was able to, get him out of jail, whatever. Anyways, they get D-Thing back to the motherfucking to Atlanta, right? So she's like, so Kadia tells Chris and Armel, don't bring D-Thing when they call his name. Don't come in until they call his name. So she gets on the stage at the gala because he's getting an award for the best surgeon, basically. And so she makes a whole speech about how he really don't give a fuck about her. Like, he's a great surgeon, but he don't give a fuck about his marriage, right? And they turn to see D-Thing, and Miss Girl notices, like, she knows who D-Thing is, and so does Carter. And how do they know who D-Thing is? Because D-Thing was the nigga she was cheating on Carter with. But wait, right? So they go back to the house. Carter's like, we gonna go back to the house because this is getting out of hand, right? They go back to the house, right? Come to find out, right, D-Thing, right, Kadia knew him as Dex. Dex was fucking on Kadia. He fell in love with Kadia, right? And then Carter found him, right? And then Carter took Dex, who turned into D-Thing, and told him to show me show me what you do to Kadia that she loves so much. Ends up turning D-Thing out, and he falls in love with Carter, bitch. Yes, bitch. Carter's gay, right? So boom, they everything, right? So it's coming out, and Kadia's like, nigga, what? And he's basically saying that Kadia was Carter's beard, and Carter was like, yeah, like, I'm from the hood. You think I could tell my hood friends that I'm gay, and yada yada yada. And it was just a whole bunch, right? But boom. So Kadia's heartbroken because she's like, this whole time I was loving you, and you wasn't giving me the attention I needed, so I cheated on you, and instead of you and then you go fuck with a nigga that I cheated on you with, which is crazy work, right? So boom, somewhere before this or after this whole situation, she ends up fucking on Armel and Chris at the same fucking time, right? So anyways, long fucking story short, she looks at Carter, and basically is like, we're done. Like, my lawyer's gonna send you papers, bitch. Like, we're done. I want everything, basically. So she tells Carter, I'm coming back to the house to get the rest of my stuff. He's like, I bet. She goes back to the house, and she opens the door. She knocks on the door. Why the fuck was a nigga at the front door? And he's like, oh, like, I know you, yada yada yada. He's basically saying Carter is his man, bitch. Oh my lord. He said Carter is his man. And so Carter was like, you're doing too much, go in the fucking room, right? So she goes upstairs and she gets her bags, and Carter helps her out with the bags. And then he's trying to say he's sorry, and she's like, nigga, bye, my lawyer is sending you fucking papers. and I hope you give me every fucking thing I deserve, right? So she goes back to the hotel, and then eventually she starts looking for apartments. She can't find nothing she likes. So Chris and Armel was like, okay, how about we buy a house together? We all have our own rooms, but we live together. And she was like, oh, we on some polyamorous shit? And it was like, if you want. So now she got 2 outside niggas that's now her main niggas, and Carter decided to give her everything she wanted in the divorce because she deserved it, because he was an ain't shit nigga and he tried to use her as a beard without telling her. And that was the end of the book. Crazy, right? It was so good, y'all. Now I will say there was typos all in through the bitch, okay? Names was spelled incorrectly. I was just like, I thought this bitch name was Kadia, and some of the spelling is Kaida. Who the fuck is Kaida? I thought it was Kadia. Anyways, if you read this book, comment down below. If you have not read it, girl, go read it and come back and tell me what you think of it. I did leave a little bit of stuff out, so hello, go read it and come back and tell me what you think of it. If you could like, comment, subscribe, I appreciate it. Okay, bye.